Hi there, I'm Tricia at Club Scrap with the Riverbend page kit. Very excited about how this collection turned out and can't wait to recreate these pages with you. I've got my kit handy here, and of course, as you probably already know, our kits do come with all of the ribbons and embellishments needed. I'm going to begin by setting all of that aside. And oh my gosh, I love all of these charms, fishing swivels, and everything that come in the box. But for now, let's take our accordion pocket file. This helps us keep organized as we prep everything for all 8 layouts. I'm gonna take this lip, put it underneath the base of my trimmer here. And if you don't yet have an accordion pocket file, please reach out to us at Club Scrap so we can help set you up with one of those. Now, we are going to begin by taking those photo mats that come in our monthly kits, and let's file them into the appropriate pocket. So this is kind of like a little filing warm-up, let's just say. So we'll take 2 of these light green. Now, one thing you're going to find right away about this light green is it's extremely heavy. It almost feels like, I think it's like an 80, at least 100-pound cover weight, whereas our normal paper weight hovers around 80-pound cover. So take 2 of the light green of the 3, 2 of them go in pocket 1 and 2. And then 2 dark green. Now the dark green has a really lovely texture too. You're gonna love that. We've used this paper in the past and it's one of my favorites. So just 2 of those, pocket 1 and 2. And then take 1 teal. Okay, that's that really deep, oh, this paper is so beautiful as well. This is the first time for this one. That's going also in pocket 1 and 2. So that's a photo mat hog right there. Okay, then the 2 remaining teal photo mats, this darker color, that'll go in 3 and 4. And then the remaining light green, also pocket 3 and 4. Now let's go to the remaining dark green photo mat. That's for 5 and 6. And the 3 aqua that are left over, those go in 7 and 8. Next up, we'll take all of the papers that came in the kit and sort them in the order of usage. I like to keep them up vertically in my arm while I sort. It's a little easier to view those papers from the top edge rather than from a flat surface. And the first one I want you to find, probably either at the top or second print in your stack, this beautiful crane print. We're gonna place that face down on our trimmer and then find 1 tent print. Put that face down on the trimmer as well. Next, find another one of those real heavy dark green plain. I'm sorry, light green, a light green plain. And then a teal. I love this teal as well. It is my favorite color, actually, teal. Then, from the back of the stack, typically Deb collates these at the bottom, we're gonna find our Cutaparts. Now I'm looking for the one that has all the strips. It's 100% strips except for this one on the edge here. Place that face down, and then the one with the other sized graphics and all the fish, that'll be next. Again, those prints just go face down. Now the final tent print, that'll be next, followed by your remaining teal. That's that darker. Okay, then the 2 dark green. Now, again, the green here has this texture. Take both of them, and I would put it texture side down just so that it's, you know, facing the right way when the time comes. Then the remaining 2 aqua color, those will be next. And then finally, this remaining light green, and then the last crane print, face down. That's everything needed. Flip it all over to the top print here with this crane. And we're gonna get started with our trimming. By sorting the paper ahead of time, it just kind of helps alleviate any problems or confusion as we're going along, and it saves a lot of time as well. So thanks for bearing with me on that process. Let's take the crane print, place it in the trimmer so that this crane is in the lower right corner. We're gonna section this out, okay? So the first cut we'll make here will be at 7. If you're new to the trimmer, just be aware that that top row of numbers there are centimeters. A lot of times a beginner will look up here and find the 7, but that's not anywhere close to 7 inches, okay? 7 inches is over here. Confirm that your paper is resting here firmly along the top edge to keep it straight with the blade. Then stabilize by pushing down on this clear bar. And there goes our crane, fell off the end. Leave him there. And now we're gonna slide down to 5 1/4. Be mindful that when you're adding a quarter or a half or a 3/4 to a measurement, you need to go left. And then every column on here represents 1/4 of an inch. So 5 plus 1 column to the left is 5 1/4. That's what I'm looking for. Stabilize, give it a slice, and now we've just isolated this part of the print. We're gonna put that in pocket 7 and 8. And when you do so, do it at an angle so that you can still see the number on the left. You don't wanna try to jam this down into there. Otherwise you won't see the numbers anymore. Then the remaining 2 pieces will be placed in pocket 5 and 6, also at a nice angle, so I can still see the numbers on the left. Okay, we're moving on to the tent print. And I just want to say on the outset here, if I'm going too fast, hang in there with me, pause as needed. Eventually you will be able to keep up at a very comfortable pace with me. It just requires a little bit of practice. Like anything in life, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So just hang tough, and you'll be keeping up with me just fine if we continue to work together. We're looking for 7 and a half. So to do that, 2 columns to the left of the 7. Stabilize again. And then 3 3/4. So 3 3/4, going closer to the 4. Stabilize, we're isolating these trees. So take this tree portion here and put it in pocket 3 and 4. And then this next strip we'll place horizontally. We're gonna trim at 11 1/4, 7 1/2, 3 3/4. Just made 3 squares. They're all gonna go in pocket 1 and 2. And I regret to inform you that this is a scrap, and I will say that it's the only scrap in this entire process. Not bad. And then we have this last strip here going in pocket 3 and 4 again. And we are moving on to page 2 of our instructions. We have a really nice, easy one for you here. We're just gonna turn this into a half a dozen 4x6 panels. So we're going to start out by placing this in at 6 inches, cut it in half. Now, since this paper is so heavy, I'm not going to stack it. Normally I would, but it's just too heavy to do 2 at a time. So we're going to rotate the first 6x12 and trim it into thirds by cutting at 8 and 4. 2 of the 3 pieces go in pocket 3 and 4. And then the other one, 5 and 6. And then you have this other 6x12 strip. We're going to do the same thing again. Cut at 8 and 4. And all 3 of these, pocket 5 and 6. Next, we're moving on to the teal already. This is going to be stripped out quite a bit, so we'll start out at 11 3/4. That's a really big number, so make sure you go to the left. You're going to be 1 column from the 12. Stabilize. That's really important for every cut you make. And then allow these papers to stack up without moving them. Then slide to 11 1/2. Then 10 1/2. 9 1/4. 8. And then 6 1/4. Now let's take the 6 1/4 inch piece, rotate it so it's horizontal. We'll cut at 8 1/2 and 4 1/4. Stack up these 2 pieces you just created. They're the same size. They should be anyway. And they go in pocket 7 and 8. Then you have this little rectangle that fell off the end. We're just going to cut this once. Normally I cut it twice, but just once. We'll trim at 3, just the whole number 3. And you created 2 pieces that aren't quite the same size. That's okay. That's how it's going to be. And we'll put them both in pocket 5 and 6. Now I'm going to pick up all the rest of these strips, trying to keep them in the order that they landed. Just pick them all up, put them in your hand. This widest one here on the top of the stack, or it should be anyway, the remaining widest strip, goes in pocket 3 and 4. Then you have 2 the same that are wider than all the rest, 1 and 2 for both of those. Then you have this other, like, medium-sized one that goes in 7 and 8. And these really, really skinny ones, 5 and 6. Let's take a look at our first cut apart now, and I want you to note that there is some text here written on the outside. It says remove paper outside of corner cutting guides. You can do that with a craft knife and cutting mat, or you can do it with your trimmer, but all 4 edges have to be trimmed. Now when I trim my first edge here, I'm just going to trim shy of that little line. So I just want to show you, here you can see I still have some of that line remaining. And the reason I'm doing that is because my next rotation, so I'm turning the paper, I can see the edge of the silver blade, if you see where my finger's wiggling right there. I can line that up here, and I can also see the edge of the silver blade down at the bottom. And if necessary, I can tweak that so that it's perfectly aligned with the blade, give her a slice, and then I rotate. And now I'm looking again for the top and bottom edge of the blade lining up with that mark. On this rotation now, I can look over here at the number 12 and get a nice 12-inch cut. And then one more rotation to finally take care of that last shaving. And I love that my trimmer is capable of this type of a cut. You can see how skinny that little guy is. And now we are beginning with a nice accurate 12 by 12. When we start our trimming process, I want you to make sure that the skinniest strip is on the far right and that you're not cutting through any art as you go. So our first cut here is going to be at 11 inches with this falling off the edge. And then we'll go to 10, 9, 7.5, 6, and 3.5. You notice I let everything pile up. So we'll start by taking the piece out of the base of our trimmer. Today's good mood is brought to you by the lake. Love that. That goes in 7 and 8. And now I'm going to do what I did before, pick up all of the strips, put them in my hand so I can deal them into the pockets. It's just the fastest way, easiest way to do it. So this beautiful piece of art here, that goes in 3 and 4. Then we have Life is Good, also 3 and 4. Keep It Real, 5 and 6. Then we have these 2 fishy borders, 1 and 2. And now this one needs to be trimmed. So I'm going to go horizontal with this journaling prompt. It's just 2 lines. It's on the right. First number is 8.5, and then 4 1/4. These were designed specifically to fit onto the woodcut signs that we have as a goodie in your collection, just FYI. This one goes, whatever floats your boat, that's 3 and 4. Nothing makes a fish bigger than almost being caught, that's 5 and 6. And as is the little journaling guy, that goes in 5 and 6 as well. Now you get some more practice at removing your perimeters. So again, you have the same instructions here. So let's just pop this in, cut shy of the line, and rotate. Now I'm studying where the mark meets the blade. Try to get that as accurate as you can. Another rotation here to get this edge taken care of. And then on my third rotation, I can look at for the number 12 here on the left, and I should be lined up, and I am. And then my final, I can again look at the 12 and neaten that up with my last little shaving, right? And get rid of these guys. And now with the stripes on the far right, I'll cut at 11 1/4 and 10.5. 7.5 and 4. Then I rotate so that the river is my happy place. Again, that's the narrowest piece. We want that on our right, and our first cut here is at 10, 8.5, and 6. I love this. My favorite childhood memory is having energy. Ain't that the truth? This one, and then this sweet little doggy here with the birds. I love this one. These both go in pocket 1 and 2. And then you have the today, oh, can't work today. My arm is in a cast. I'm gonna just clip off these corners here. by looking at my trimmer here with one eye open, one eye closed, and try to match that margin from this edge of the art to the edge of the paper, match that on the two clipped corners. This goes in pocket 5 and 6, pocket 5 and 6 on that one. Then you got this guy, same thing, a little tag here. I'm going to go ahead and clip that while I'm here. I guess we created some more triangular scraps. This goes in 1 and 2. And then we have our strip with some circles. We'll put the duck on the right and we'll cut at 8.5 here. And 5. River life, because beaches be salty. Love that. That goes in 5 and 6. And then we have relax, 7 and 8. And we have our duck in 1 and 2. Here we have a journaling prompt that says lake vibes. That should be on the right, and we'll trim at 10 and then 8. At this point, I will just separate this larger fish from the top. That goes in pocket 3 and 4. And then the one from the middle, it's going to go in 5 and 6. And then this other one from the bottom of that section, 3 and 4. Go with the flow journaling prompt, 7 and 8. And then lake vibes, 3 and 4. 2 narrow strips here, pocket 7 and 8. And my friends, that's it for the trimming. That's amazing. Love it. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of my trimmer here, and just be aware that your trimmer has been holding up your accordion pocket file. So you'd hate to move the trimmer and have that like fall on the floor and like dump out. That would not make anyone happy, would it? Okay, so now we need to set ourselves up for some what I call dry fit assembly. That just simply means we won't be using adhesive at this point. We don't need to do that part together. You can do that on your own with your favorite adhesive on your own, but I will get you so that you're ready to go with all the details that you need to know. I'm turning to the back page of my instructions, and I'm going to look at layouts 7 and 8 because my plan is to help you work these layouts through from the bottom to top. So when you're ready to adhere things, you're working from the top of the stack, layout 1, to the bottom. So this is the entire stack of remaining paper that we sorted. Take the top sheet and move it off the stack and place the stack to your left and the paper to your right. And now we have our setup for layouts 7 and 8. Okay. Next, we need to take our accordion pocket file, reach in and remove everything from pocket 7 and 8. Make sure you don't accidentally grab pocket 1 and 2. It's sort of instinctive to do that, and I've done it, so that's why I'm reminding you. As I mentioned before, it's a little easier to deal things out from the palm of your hand than it is from a pocket or from the tabletop. So I do like to just hold things in my left hand, which is my non-dominant hand, and distribute with my right. Right out of the gates, let's take this large title here. We're going to put that on our left. And then beneath it, the other large piece to kind of just create a nice little background for us here. I have 2 larger teal mats. Those are going to kind of be placed vertically tilted in between the trees, just like you, right? And then I'll take the other 2 aqua here and put those tilted on the left of this. Now you'll see a teal strip here. I'm going to carry that teal color over here again and nest it with this border. And this other border strip is going to go right beneath here. So it looks like that should come down a little. Maybe that can go up a little. All right. Now, once you take scissors and you just do, a cut around this, it'll be placed kind of right here. And I placed it with some foam adhesive to give it a little elevation. And then this, I put it below the tent. I don't want to lose that tent. I like the tent. Optional to round the corners, maybe on a 1/4 inch setting on this if you would like, or just place it on there. I ended up adding a fish charm and a hook charm. I did glue them into place. And one of the things that I did with the hook and this fish is I took a wire cutter and I removed the hanging loop from the fish. And when you do that, you're going to want to wear safety glasses because that thing went flying, okay? or skip this step. If you don't have a little jewelry wire cutter, then don't even worry about it. But I'd like to take his little hanging loop off. That's an option. I did the same thing for this tiny little hook. He's pretty tiny, but this hook is kind of facing the wrong way. So again, that's why I just grabbed it with the tip of it, and there it went. I can find it. And now I can just adhere this with our bookbinding glue, however you wish. I mean, these are pretty cute. You could put, I had them separate, but you could have a little fishy swimming toward the hook. Uh-oh. Poor fish. All right, that is layout 7 and 8. Now let me just give you a quick tour of my finished piece. Here you can see my hanging loopless charms. Oh, I also did a little trick here where I made a cut into the side of the tent here with a craft knife, and I slid that journaling Cutapart underneath it. And that way you can keep that tent in the foreground just a little bit. It just brings attention to it in a subtle way. I love these colors so much. Have I mentioned teal is my favorite color? Here I did a 3-part bow on the left here with this beautiful 7/8 inch satin. I love this 3-part bow structure because it doesn't, it's not very bulky on the page. I do have a video, it's called Ribbon Basics, I believe, that shows how to make that 3-part bow. Here's another fish, I just glued him on. And then here is my piece attached with foam adhesive to give it a little bit of, you know, support. And I was very aware I don't have any adhesive underneath the corner where the photo has to be slid. So just be aware of that as you're finishing your layouts. And now I'm going to slide just the teal. So just that one sheet, pick it up, slide it on over, and that reveals this dark green. So take that sheet, slide just one of them over, and that's going to give us the base that we need for layouts 5 and 6. Therefore, we need to empty pocket 5 and 6 here, which I will do now. Make sure you get everything. This kit's kind of nice. It doesn't have a lot of little pieces and you need to hunt down. Okay, so we have our beautiful crane here. I'm going to put her on the upper left, leaving about a 1/2 inch from the top edge. And then to that, we'll add these little teal ribbons just to kind of bring in a little more color. Now below that, you've got a series of light green mats. I'm going to place 2 of them vertically beneath that. So just to make sure you have enough room, this has to be pretty close to the top edge. I allowed, I think it might have been like 1/8 of an inch, barely a quarter. So I had room for my mats to be framed out nicely with the green. Then the other 2 green mats will go horizontally like so. This is the perfect spot here for a photo. And then we have our border strip. Now, it's a little deceptive, but I did use a portion of this print to brighten the area for this mat here. Then I put the smaller of the 2 teal on the top, and then I've got my Cutapart in the middle. Of course, if you have a lot of photos of the fish that you caught that day, you can just put it right over the top. This is just here to help you finish the layout if you lack enough photos from your event. All of that's the case. Well, of course, it's your own layout anyway, right? Do what you like. I stapled some ribbon to the top of this little journaling guy. Added some ribbon to this as well after I punched the hole. I added the Gone Fishing sign to this. Now, what if you don't fish? I don't go fishing. But I do live in a water community, so we do a lot of boating, and I think that these are going to be fabulous pages for that. And then I'm going to nest this on the woodcut sign. That's going to go here. And I just fussy cut this fish. Now, Jacqueline added this little shadow. That can basically be your cutting guide, right? I mean, this should only take a moment or two. You don't have to go around every single fin. It's just a nice winding cut. I like to open my blade wide and then just kind of rotate as I slowly squeeze the blade, and then your cuts are going to be smoother. More smooth. Your cuts will be more smooth. There. He's nice, right? That's not bad. Took just a moment, and then he's going to kind of layer a little underneath there for a nice look. Added some of this beautiful gingham. I love the gingham in this kit. It just kind of gives it a nice earthy look, and the color, it really worked well with that light green. So I added gingham here and here, and then the dark green ribbon here. And then I did one fun little trick with the fishing swivel. So with these swivels, they're actual swivels for fishing, you can open them up, okay? So you just gotta pinch in there. It's kind of like a safety pin, right? And then I hung one of the fish charms from that little hook. Then I threaded some ribbon, this thin little gingham, and I cut a real point right here and thread it through the top loop of the swivel. But if you consider that the top, I don't know. And then just kind of measure the length here, cut the ribbon. Okay, so now you're going to make this loop, and then you can just tie the ends together. I think I'm going against the grain here. Just tie the end. Now I have this really cute embellishment that I can add to this part of my layout. Isn't that adorable? Just it's so cute. It's like I got him on the hook, right? And I think that's it for embellishments. Let's take a look at the details on the finished page here. There we have them. Now I just used like a glue line, I think in this case, here and here to stabilize it. Then the ribbon goes around to the back. I just secured that with cellophane tape. Here's my sweet little detail cut fishy. Then over on the left side, the stapled ribbon on the journaling prompt. Oh, and I did add some wax linen thread. If you have our wax cord, whatever, or just leave it off. It's always optional. Bookbinding glue to attach him. Here's my little trick where I looped some ribbon around to the back, just to like a 2-inch piece through a hole. I did add a hole to this. Then after that ribbon was taped down, I made a separate bow and glue dotted it to the spot, making sure I didn't obscure the can't work today. My arm is in a cast. If anyone ever tried that around here, I'll be onto them, I promise. Okay, so now we're gonna take this dark green, slide it on over to the right on top of layout 6. Now we have Aqua looking at us, so let's take one of those and slide him over. And from our instructions, we'll reverse direction here now because we're working backwards. Find the picture that says layouts 3 and 4. Empty the pocket labeled 3 and 4 here. And let's hand it out, deal it out, right? We've got the piece that has the tree. That's gonna go flush with the right edge of our base page here. Then we have the piece with the tent. So by separating this out into different sections, it allows me to create more varieties, because the other time this paper makes an appearance, the tent is on the right and now the tent is on the left. It just kind of, you know, adds some variety. Now we can take this teal border and butt it right up against the print and nest it with the Life is Good strip. On the left, we can take this one and place it maybe 1.5 inches or so from the top edge below the 6th line, if you're really wanting to know. I fussy cut this guy, placed him in that lower corner. Then I have 2 smaller mats. There's one larger, light green, 2 smaller. The 2 smaller ones are the ones I paired up over here, and then the larger one I placed over here. Then you have the teal going horizontally in this spot. This larger fish, I fussy cut him. He's gonna be placed right around there. Stapled some ribbon and a swivel to the journaling prompt. This is the other place for your woodcut sign, whatever floats your boat. You'll add some ribbon and a fishing swivel, I think, in this area here. So it's really straightforward, right? And, you know, just a word about embellishing. If you don't really want to mess around with all of these embellishments, you don't have to. I think this page already looks fabulous without any extras, and you can leave those out. If you're in a big hurry, fine. But if you're at a crop with your girlfriends and you just want to like relax and make things pretty, then do all those little details. So here are the details. A piece of folded satin ribbon here stapled in the upper right corner. Here I hung a swivel to the ribbon and then glue dotted it in place. I should have just used bookbinding glue because I can kind of see my dot. This guy just tucked in underneath the woodcut here. On the other facing page, Doesn't he look cool? And I just trimmed around it as I showed you before, and mounted it with foam adhesive to give it a little dimension. Again, this is just hooked right onto that staple, believe it or not. And then I just attached it right here with a glue dot, just to point it out of the way so it wasn't hanging in this area, and it gives it a little more life, maybe, just by looking like it's in action. And that concludes layouts 3 and 4, I believe. So now I'm going to slide this aqua over, and our final pages 1 and 2. After we do that other slide, again, we look at the image for layout 1 and 2 found at the top of page 3. Empty the pocket. I always just double check to make sure it's fully emptied. And let's begin. All right, I'm gonna have you look for these guys. These are the squares that used to be vertical, but now they're horizontal. And they're gonna be placed up here. Beneath that, we'll add a teal strip, kind of create some separation there, and nest it with our fishy border. Below that, there's going to be just enough room for 2 vertical dark green mats, and then I'm going to tuck in this breathe so I can't see the white strip on the left. Above that, after I just trimmed this, I trimmed mine with scissors and it worked fine. He's going to be kind of pop dotted in that area here. Then on the left, I've got my 2 larger light green mats. Those are going to go here. And then to their left, a vertical border strip here. It's not really covering anything critical, right? Our crane is still in full view. We'll nest our fishy border here as well. The bottom, we'll add the tag. And then this pairs to nest. Once again, your pictures take priority. If you have a lot of pictures you want to use with this, cover it all, okay? Just your pictures are number one. That's our philosophy here at Club Scrap. Finishing touches. Here, I just looped this in. Oh, I think I just fake glued it. I don't remember what I did here, but either way, I attached the swivel. Maybe I had it tied on, I don't know. And I stapled a piece of folded ribbon here. I just wanted to kind of give it a little touch, right? Everything else, pretty straightforward. I did use my grid ruler to evenly space these 3 pieces. You can see I always use my grid ruler to make sure things are level, evenly spaced, that sort of thing. I do have a ruler basics video. If you're new to Club Scrap and you don't know about our grid rulers, pick some up and then I'll show you how to use them, okay? Here, I did my little double looped bow here, my chain link bow. So it's just 2 pieces of ribbon threaded together. And what's nice about this ribbon technique is that the lump where there would normally be a knot isn't really there. It's much softer, much lower dimension. Tied some ribbon onto the top of this swivel and glue dotted it, and glue dotted after I threaded the fish onto the swivel, he's glue dotted there too. This was bookbinding glue with the hook. Now I do believe I forgot to include 1 hook. I was cleaning up my work area after I finished, and you might have an extra hook. So you get to decide where you put that. It's a really cute little charm, isn't it? Otherwise, take 1 hook off of here and keep the hanging loop and make some earrings out of it. That would be really super sweet as well, if you're into that sort of thing. Okay, that is the Riverbend Page Kit Workshop. Really straightforward, right? Sometimes you just need one of those straightforward, easy does it kits. It's gonna make some beautiful things for you, I'm sure, and I hope you have pictures already in your stash with something in mind. Otherwise, get outside and play, take some pictures, and finish up these beautiful layouts. Remember that I always do a card kit project too with this same theme, different collection, but coordinating Riverbend. So come and meet me for the Riverbend card class. I'd love to show you how I make these really cool cards with this collection. If you're not already a member of Club Scrap, consider joining us. You'll always save on your kits and everything else. And if you haven't yet clicked subscribe on our YouTube channel, make sure you do that so you don't miss anything fun coming from our headquarters here in Neenah, Wisconsin. Again, I'm Tricia Morris from Club Scrap. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I look forward to seeing you again in next month's workshop.